starting on our back to Shavasana. So once you're ready, go ahead and lie down. We're doing a little bit of the grounding sequence flow. As always, do what you need for your body. Listen. If you feel pain, stop. Do your own thing until you do something you can do. And yeah, let's get some grounding together. And it's also a very special birthday today. We'll shout that at the end. All right, so come to lying down on your back, on your mat. And once you're there, go ahead and close your eyes. You're going to put one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. And then just gently feel your breath this morning. Without changing it, notice if it's more in the chest or more in the belly. And then take a moment to notice your thoughts. Don't judge them, just notice where your mind is. If it's racing or if it's calm. And go ahead and let that last thought finish. And let it go. Making this mat a safe space for any thoughts or no thoughts. So maybe after you finish that thought, let your mind start to notice your breath and only your breath. Noticing the quality of the breath. If you're inhaling through the nose or the mouth. And if you can, we're going to slowly start to change our breath, breathing in and out through the nose only if that's possible for you. We're going to start breathing deeper into the belly. Whatever that means for you. Feeling that hand on your belly rise as your belly fills with air, the lower lobes of your lungs. Inhale fully. Go ahead and exhale. On this next inhale, breathing into the belly, and then letting your breath travel up and expanding through the chest. Inhale through the chest. And then exhale, reverse through the chest first, and then the belly. Doing this a few times at your own pace. Inhaling first into the belly until that's as full as it can be. And then inhaling to the chest. Expanding your full lungs as much as you can. And then releasing, starting first with the chest, down into the belly. Do this again in your own time. Seeing if you can notice your back pressing into the ground as you're expanding your belly and your chest. Releasing that breath and feeling all of your back connected to the ground through your back. Feeling your heels in the ground, your calves, your thighs, your butt, your tailbone. Maybe your low back touches, or maybe it's slightly lifted. Your rib cage and thoracic spine. Maybe your neck is off the ground. Your head is pressing into the ground. Feeling that connection through the ground as the ground supports you here. And knowing that physically the atoms that compose your body and the atoms that compose the ground are never fully touching. It's just the electrons around the nucleus of the atom that are exchanging energy. So it's a dance of energy. Nothing is actually touching anything else. We feel grounded through energy. It's not passive, it's active. And finding that grounding energy through active is what we're going to be working towards today. Taking one more breath on your own. And then start to wiggle the fingers and the toes here. And notice as we felt our way through our body, through the connection to the ground, maybe noticing your lower back slightly off the ground, your neck slightly off the ground, and noticing the natural curve of your spine. And knowing that when you are actively engaging your back, your spine is never going to be flat. You're always going to have these natural curves. And we want to support those natural curves. So with that, go ahead and start moving, maybe bending your knees and planting the soles of your feet on the ground. Maybe stretching out your low back and pressing your low back into the ground as you tuck your tailbone, hugging your knees into your chest. Maybe rocking side to side here. And hugging your knees in, releasing that right leg long out in front of you. Go ahead and flex both feet towards your face, flexing the toes of both feet back towards your face, hugging that left knee into the chest still. Engaging through both legs. Now start hugging your left knee over towards your armpit, more than the center of your chest. Give it a moment here, a breath, expanding through the belly. Go ahead and grab your left knee with your right hand and go ahead and cross that knee over your body, bringing your left knee to the floor on your right side. Maybe stretching that left hand out to the left, reaching both shoulder blades to the ground. Here, maybe keeping your right hand on the left knee to add a little bit of weight. Twisting any amount here gently. Your knee doesn't need to come anywhere near the ground. Taking a breath here. And then on your next inhale, supporting your left knee back up with your right hand. Hugging it in one more time. And then go ahead and bring your right knee into your chest. Hug both knees in for a moment. And then release that left leg down long out in front of you along the mat. Flexing both feet here. Hugging your right knee in, maybe over to your right shoulder. Taking a moment here, engaging both feet, keeping your hips neutral. And go ahead and grab your right knee with your left hand and start to twist that knee over your body to the left side. Reaching your right arm out to the right. Maybe looking over to the right. Trying to press both shoulder blades into the ground here. Breathing, going as deeply as is right for your body. One more breath here. And then on your next inhale, go ahead and bring that right knee back into your chest. And then the left knee back into your chest. Go ahead and hug both knees in. And start rocking up and down the spine. Get some momentum. And we're going to come up through seated into all fours. Holding all fours here for just a moment. Feeling the engagement through the front side body and the back side body to support your spine here. Pressing your hands into the ground underneath your shoulders, your knees, underneath your hips. Then go ahead and bring your toes to touch and bring your knees as wide as hips width distance. And sit your butt back towards your heels and then reach your hands forward along the mat until you bring your chest and head down towards the ground, any amount. Sitting back in child's pose here. Feeling your forehead maybe touching the ground. Press it into the ground, feeling the energy and the grounding as we bring our face into the ground. Pressing your hands into the mat. Can you bring your elbow pits or the inner parts of your elbows more towards the sky, releasing those shoulders away from your ears? One more breath here. Knowing that this is a great place to come anytime you need to. This can be a place of rest. It's your safe space. And then on your next inhale, shifting your weight forward, tucking the toes, and then exhale back to downward facing dog. Hands and feet pressing into the mat. Go ahead and do whatever you need to do. Pedal the feet, wiggle the hips. First down dog. Whatever you need to do before you come into stillness. Maybe your calves and hamstrings are really tight like mine, and you want to take some time pressing one heel towards the ground as you bend the other leg, and then the other side. Pressing that right heel towards the ground as you bend the opposite leg. And then coming through stillness, bending your knees any amount here to reach your hips to the sky, finding a long spine here. Pressing your hands into the ground, engaging through the arms, but reaching your elbow pits towards each other, maybe towards the sky. One more breath here. And we're going to shift through plank. Shift your weight forward until your shoulders are over your wrists. And your legs and your back are long. Maybe tucking your hips slightly here to find strength and length through the entire body here. Reaching, engaging through those back heels. And then shifting your hips up and back to downward facing dog. We're going to do that with our breath 3 times. Inhaling, shifting forward to plank, long breaths here. Finish that inhale while holding. And then exhale, shift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Inhaling forward to plank. Holding as you finish that inhale breath. Exhale, shifting back to downward facing dog. One more time. Inhaling, shifting forward. Finish that breath as you hold. And exhale, up and back to downward facing dog. Holding downward facing dog for one more breath. Spreading your fingers and pressing your fingers into the ground. And then as you exhale, go ahead and walk your feet slowly up to meet your hands. You can maybe play and try to get your heels to touch first. Coming into an easy forward fold, feet, hips width distance, or wider. But trying to get your feet parallel with one another in this forward fold. Bending the knees deeply to get your belly and thighs. And then maybe reaching your hips up to the sky from there. If you want to turn this into a weighted forward fold, go ahead and grab opposite elbows, but switch it so that it's the awkward grab of the elbows. Breathing here, feeling the weight of your arms. They're so big and strong, they're good weights, right? Breathing into your back body here, seeing if you can expand through the backs of your lungs, pressing into your upper rib cage. And go ahead and release your hands if you have opposite elbows. I'm going to come up half lift. So bringing a long spine parallel to the ground, reaching your head forward, your hips away, bringing your fingertips to your shins. Inhaling here. And then exhale, fold down, release. We're going to inhale up through standing. Bend your knees slightly, have a long spine. Maybe reach your arms out to the side and up overhead as we come to standing. And then exhale, bring your hands down through the center to your sides. Standing here in Tadasana, grounding down through the feet. You can keep your feet hip width distance or bring your toes to touch. Whatever feels right. But pressing your feet down. And maybe shifting forward on your toes and back on your heels. Playing around with that weight distribution across the foot. Maybe spreading all 10 toes out before putting them back onto the ground. And finding that place of balance. And once you have the right weight distribution in your feet, pressing your feet into the ground, go ahead and close your eyes here. Tune into your body. Feel that grounding through the legs, engaging through the legs here. Releasing the butt muscles as you engage through the abdominal muscles, bringing your hips slightly closer to your rib cage and your lower ribs staying in, reaching them down towards your hip bones. Not flaring them out, keeping them tucked in. Feeling your rib cage steady over your hips, stacked directly on top. And then feel your shoulders over your hips as well. But broaden through the chest here, reaching your sternum, or the front middle of your chest, right at your breastbone, up towards the sky. Keeping that shape here, holding your Tadasana. Mountain pose, grounded at the base, reaching up toward the sky. Go ahead and inhale, reaching your arms up and overhead, keeping your Tadasana shape, just reaching the arms up overhead. Your arms don't have to reach any certain amount overhead. They can stay angled. This is Urdhva Hastasana, or Tadasana with arms overhead. Maybe reaching your arms out to the side as you bend your knees slightly to hinge forward, folding forward. Releasing the work here in your forward fold. As you exhale. On your next inhale, come to a half lift. Reaching that head towards the front, your sit bones toward the back, and fingertips to the shins. And then exhale, fold. Inhale, long spine, come up to standing. Reach your arms out and up overhead. And exhale, release your hands down to your sides. Inhale, arms sweep out and up overhead. Exhale, hinge at the hips, folding forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, long spine, come all the way up through standing. Arms overhead. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, arms overhead. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, long spine, forward fold. Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift. Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold forward. Uttanasana. Inhale, arms out, sweep up, come to standing. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands down by your side. Tadasana. Adding on, inhale, sweep your arms out and up overhead. And exhale, folding forward. Planting your hands, stepping your right foot back and your left foot back to hold in plank. You can always have your knees down in plank or keeping your knees up. Shifting forward slightly so that your shoulders are more over your fingertips, knees up or down here, bending the elbows back in line with your ribs, brushing your elbows against your ribs, 90 degrees, chaturanga, half lift plank. Then go ahead and release it all the way down to the ground, bring your belly to the ground. Then maybe bring your knees bent. You can rest your right cheek onto the ground, your hands long in line with your hips, and just let your feet reach towards the sky as you bend your knees, and let your feet fall from one side to the other. Windshield wipers. And then go ahead and plant the tops of your feet back onto the ground, bringing your feet close together. Hips width distance or closer. Pressing the tops of your feet into the ground, tucking that tailbone slightly so that you can press your hip bones maybe into the ground, maybe just pressing the front of your hips into the ground as you inhale, reaching your belly up towards your spine. Holding here a steady base, bringing your fingertips in line with your nipples here, and then reaching those shoulders back and away from your ears. On your next inhale, peeling your chest up for a low cobra, Bhujangasana. Inhaling here, pressing those feet into the ground, pressing your hips into the ground, reaching your belly up away from the ground, pressing into your hands slightly so that you reach your shoulders back and down, your elbows tucked in towards your hips. Holding here, maybe hovering the hands off the ground, and try to wrap your shoulders in towards each other and down towards your hips more. Holding here, looking at a spot in front of your mat, on the ground. Holding here, Inhale, pressing your feet into the ground. And then exhale, let it go. Pressing your hands into the ground. Go ahead and tuck those toes. And then shifting back through child's pose. And then up and back to downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Pressing your hands and feet into the ground. Seeing if your downward facing dog now feels different than the first one you did. One more breath here. And then look forward as you exhale and walk your feet to meet your hands. Maybe trying to get your heels to touch the ground first. So your toes are up by your fingers. And then inhale, half lift. Fingertips to shins. And then exhale, let it go. Wonderful. Inhale, sweeping the arms out and up overhead. Standing tall, pressing your feet into the ground. Exhale your hands down through center to your Tadasana. Inhale, sweeping your arms up overhead. Exhale, bending your knees to hinge at your hips, folding forward. Inhale, half lift, chest forward. Planting your hands on the ground, keeping a long spine. You can step back to a plank. Or if you're feeling energized and strong in your chaturanga, you can jump back but land with bent elbows in chaturanga. Inhale, low cobra, or if you're ready for upward facing dog, stay here for a few breaths. Pressing your hands into the ground underneath your shoulders, pressing the tops of your feet into the ground, lifting everything else off the mat. Take a moment here to inhale, reach your shoulders back and down as you reach your chest forward, expanding through this upper back, keeping your low back supported with your abdominals. And then maybe look over your left shoulder, and then look over your right shoulder. Play around with a little bit of movement in this upward facing dog. And come back through center. Broaden across that chest one more time, and then shift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Holding here for a few breaths. Looking forward in between your hands. Go ahead and bring your right knee into your chest. Shifting forward to plank with your knee in towards your chest. And maybe pop up onto those right fingertips so you can bring your right foot to the ground without letting that knee splay out. Keeping that right knee on the inner part of your right arm as you touch it down. Spinning your back left heel down to the ground. And then maybe bringing it over. Heel to arch alignment as we're setting up for Warrior Two. Angle those left toes in slightly, allowing that hip to come into its natural position. Popping up on the fingertips, long spine, stacking that right knee over that right heel, and then maybe bring your left arm up and over, windmill your way to Warrior Two. Holding your Warrior Two for a moment. Keeping up. Holding your Warrior Two here, making sure that your torso is upright out of the hips. So maybe bringing your hands to your hips, and then just notice if you're shifting forward or back. Come back through center, pressing your hands into your hips, keeping that bend in the front knee. Bringing your arms out to a T in line with your shoulders. Maybe turn your palms face up. Let those shoulders fall away from your ears. And as you do that, see if you can feel the engagement of your lats.
the side muscles underneath your shoulders. See if you can feel that engagement as you turn your palms face down, holding your arms up from the bottom muscles, not from the top. Pressing here, wrapping your right butt underneath you. And then we're going to release the left back hand down to the thigh or your hip, and reach your right palm up to the sky and over for a reverse warrior. Maybe spinning your chest up to the sky, reaching over any amount, keeping that bend in the front knee. Inhale, and then exhale, back through warrior two. Bring your hands to your hips. Go ahead and straighten that front right leg, turning the toes in slightly, but still at an angle towards the right front corner of your mat. Go ahead and turn your entire left leg in, maybe from the heel, so that your feet are pointing towards the long edge corners of your mat. We're going to sit low into goddess pose here, hinging your hips back. Go ahead and bend both knees. See if you can get 90-degree angles with the legs. You can heel toe them in slightly or away, finding the alignment in your body, maybe shifting side to side, easing into it. And just notice, look down at your knees, making sure that your knees are pointing in the same direction as your toes. And if they're off, set them up. No worries, it's just yoga. It's not serious. Sitting your butt down, reaching your chest forward. Can you expand through the spine, not shifting forward or back? Bring your hands to your hips, reaching your chest up, your sternum up to the sky, but tucking those low ribs in. Bringing your arms out to a T, bending at the elbows, palms face up to cactus arms. Sitting low in your goddess. Strong goddess pose here. Maybe touching your thumb and your pointer finger together. Holding here. Maybe taking one lion's breath. Inhale deep through the belly. Open the mouth, stick out the tongue, and exhale strongly. Return to your normal belly breath. Go ahead and bring your hands to your hips, or hands to your knees, and gently reach your right shoulder down, and then your left shoulder down. A little bit more of a hip stretch here. And then coming back through center, straighten both legs. Turn your left toes all the way out to the left. And turning those right toes in slightly, sitting up heel to arch. Alignment on the other side for warrior two. Maybe heel toeing that back foot back. Setting up your stance for warrior two. We've been here before on the other side. Reaching that left heel towards those left toes. Bending deeply so that this left knee is stacked over the left ankle. Pressing strong back leg away from you. Bring your hands to your hips and make sure your torso is facing towards the side of the room and coming directly out of the hips. Straight, long, and strong. Tucking that lift hip underneath you. Lift, I don't know what that is, your left hip underneath you. Maybe reaching your arms out long to a T, palms face down, and maybe flipping your palms, feeling that lat engagement, using the lift from your lower muscles to hold your arms up instead of the top shoulders. Palms face down here now. Holding your warrior two for one more big belly inhale. Exhale, hold. Maybe turning your left palm up, bring your right hand to your hip. Inhale, reach up and then over for your reverse warrior. Maybe reaching your chest more towards the front of the room. Inhale, and then exhale back through warrior two. Bring your hands to your hips, straighten that front left leg, turning, picking up the toes, and then turning the whole leg in slightly. Setting up for goddess on the other side, maybe heel toeing your feet in slightly. Your heels are in, your toes are out. Bending your knees the same direction as your toes. Setting up for goddess again. Hips reach down, torso reach up. Tucking that tailbone slightly, just the tiniest bit, so that you can reach your chest up to the sky. Maybe bringing the backs of your hands to your knees here. Broaden across the chest. Holding here. Maybe touching your two front fingers and your two back fingers together. Your index and your pointer and your pinky and your ring finger for some Star Trek hands. Why not? Foot engaging through the hands. Holding here for one more breath. Exhale, let it go. Straighten both legs. Turning that, picking up those right toes, balancing on the heel to externally rotate that leg. Go ahead and pop up onto your back toes, coming down through a lunge to plant the hands. Stepping back straight into down dog or flowing through your version of a vinyasa, flowing through, exhaling chaturanga, inhaling upward facing dog, and exhaling downward facing dog. Holding here for a breath. Exhale, let it go. Looking forward in between your hands. Step, walk, or jump your feet to meet your hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Come up to standing, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to your heart. And fold and release your hands. Walk your feet out to the width of your mat. Maybe pointing those toes out. Maybe your feet come off the mat. You'll find out in a moment if that's right for you as we do a half sun salutation into a squat. This is awesome if forward folds are not your thing. Maybe if you have some severe scoliosis, this is a great way to do it. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, release your hands and don't fold, but come into a nice squat. A yoga squat here. Heels in, toes out. Go ahead and wiggle your feet to the right position for you. Maybe parallel, maybe toes out. Reaching that butt down, that chest up. Bring your palms together out in front of you. Reach your chest forward, pressing your elbows into your knees so your knees press away. Holding your squat here for a moment. And then plant your hands and step back into a downward facing dog. Go ahead and bring your knees to the mat. Sit back onto your heels. We're going to start slowing things down here. We're going to work on some alternate nostril breathing. So coming to a comfortable seated position, I like to sit on my heels, knees together here, so you can stay upright. But if this doesn't feel good for your knees, totally fine. Sit in Sukhasana or whatever works for you. We'll be here for a few minutes. So really get comfortable, feel grounded, but be able to have a long spine coming out from the hips. So sitting up tall, stacking your shoulders over your hips wherever you are. Then go ahead and bring your pointer and your middle finger together. touch those two fingers together, and then bring those two fingers in between your eyebrows, pressing your fingertips into your forehead in between your eyebrows, and then letting your thumb touch gently your right nostril, and letting your ring finger touch gently your left nostril. Bending the middle finger and the pointer finger enough so that you can reach your other fingers to reach your nostrils. Closing your eyes here. And if your nose is clogged, go ahead and just attempt it, or just sit and breathe, grounding down into your breath. If your nose is not clogged and you're ready, go ahead and close off your left nostril with your ring finger. Inhale through the right nostril. Exhale through the right nostril. Inhale through the right nostril. And then close that right nostril with your thumb, releasing your ring finger to now exhale through the left nostril. Inhaling through the left nostril. Closing the left nostril with your ring finger and opening the right nostril. Exhaling through the right nostril. Inhale into the right nostril. Switch. Exhale to the left. Inhale to the left. Switch. Exhale to the right. Inhale to the right. Exhale, switch, and exhale through the left. Inhale to the left. Switch. Exhale to the right. Inhale to the right. Switch. Exhale to the left. Inhale to the left. Switch. Exhale to the right. Inhale to the right. Switch. Exhale to the left. Inhale to the left. Switch. Exhale to the right. Keeping your eyes closed, release your hand away from your face and inhale through both nostrils. Open your mouth and exhale through the mouth. Breathing normally here. Letting your breath come back to normal. Notice if your mind started to drift. Coming back to the breath. Gently opening your eyes, sitting over to one side and bringing your legs out in front of you. And then bringing your right shin parallel to the front edge of your mat. bending your left knee and holding it in towards your body for a moment. And just notice your right shin here. Trying to set up, maybe flexing that right foot and finding a straight line here, parallel with the front edge of your mat with your shin, your knee in line with your ankle. We're setting up for an awkward pigeon pose, getting into it differently. So grab hold of your left leg and sit all your weight onto that right hip, lifting your left hip onto the ground, using your right hand to support you as you lean over to the right. And allow your entire leg to press into the ground here as we're shifting over to the right side. And then you can use your left hand to help you start reaching that left leg back behind you any amount. You can keep it bent here and your heel in towards your hip. And work on, maybe folding over this front right leg, maybe walking your hands out in front of this front right leg. And maybe if you're feeling good here in this fold, you can start to straighten out that back leg more. Keeping it bent is totally good here. You want to focus more on keeping your calf, your thigh, both pressing into the mat. You can stay popped up on that left hip. Totally fine here. Got all the weights in the right hip. An asymmetrical pigeon here. This is a great way to do pigeon if your knee is bothering you in a normal pigeon pose. Playing around with these different kinds of shapes. You can fold over onto your forearms over that right calf. If that feels right for you, if not, stay up on your hands. And slowly start to bring that left knee back in towards your right foot and sitting back on both sit bones. Crossing your shins here for Sukhasana. Sitting up tall. We'll set up on the other side. So bringing that right foot in towards your hip out of the way as you set up your left shin parallel to that short edge edge of your mat. Flexing the left toes back, bringing your heel in line with your knee. And then shift all your weight onto that left hip. Using your left hand to support you here. Pressing the thigh and the shin into the mat here. Keeping that foot flexed. Shifting all your weight over to the left. And then slowly support your right leg back with your right hand. Any amount. Keeping the knee bent. Slowly, maybe walking more over that left knee into a fold. And if that is good with you, maybe reaching that back leg out more, any amount. Reaching your chest over that right knee, or your chest over the left knee, excuse me, or the left. Asymmetrical, your left hip is bearing the weight. Sitting tall or folding forward more. Notice here if your knee feels more supported than normal pigeon. If you notice, if you don't, all good. One more breath here. Now go ahead. On your exhale, bringing that right knee back in. Crossing that leg here. Very easy sitting pose in Sukhasana. Sitting up tall. And then releasing down onto your back. Slowly roll down onto your back, keeping your soles of your feet onto the ground. And then widen that stance. So the soles of your feet are pressing into the ground at the edges of your mat. And you can take a look maybe and make sure that your feet are parallel with one another. You can use the edge of the mat to help you gauge, to make sure your feet are staying parallel with each other. We're going to do a wide stance bridge pose. We'll see how it goes. Pressing into your feet, tucking the tailbone here. Inhaling your hips up to the sky, any amount. Pressing your feet into the ground. Maybe engaging the butt muscles a little bit more here since your legs are wide. You have a little bit more room where your knees can go out slightly here over your feet. Coming up onto your shoulder blades, maybe interlacing your fingers underneath of your body, wrapping those upper arms underneath your chest. Pressing your head into the ground to support your neck here. You don't want to take that natural arch out of the neck. Inhaling, big breath, belly to the sky. Holding your bridge here. Can you release your butt muscles any amount? One more breath here. And exhale, slowly release your hands if you have them interlaced. Slowly release their butt down to the ground. Resetting on the mat here. If you liked this wide stance bridge pose, we're going to do bridge one more time. If you want to do traditional bridge, walk heel toe your feet back in to be in line with your hips. Or keep them out to the edges of your mat. I think this is a fun one. It feels way better for my low back. Modifications for your body are always a good thing. No pose has to look a certain way as long as it feels right in your body. Knowing that and supporting yourself. Pressing into your feet, peeling your butt off the ground, inhaling your hips to the sky, pressing into your feet, rolling onto the shoulders, maybe interlacing your fingers the awkward way underneath you, wrapping your shoulders, your upper arms underneath your chest, pressing those arms into the ground, pressing your feet into the ground, pressing your head into the ground, support that neck. Looking up at the ceiling. You see any cobwebs? Inhaling your hips further up to the sky. Inhale, big belly inhale. Watch your belly as you do it. Exhale. Let it go. Release the hands, release the arms, release your hips down to the ground. And then let both knees just fall over to the left. A little bit of front windshield wiper. Slow windshield wipers. It's a drizzle. Inhale, back through center. Soles of the feet on the ground, knees up. And then exhale, and fall over to the right. Maybe closing your eyes here, really breathing into this gentle, tiny little twist. Inhale your knees back up to the sky. Straighten your legs out. And just notice
if Shavasana is right now, or if you want to hug your knees into your chest and give yourself one more little hug. And when you're ready, go ahead and straighten your legs out in front of you for Shavasana. Letting your feet flop open, maybe widen your stance here in Shavasana. Maybe moving whatever's in the way out of the way and reaching your legs out long and your arms out, maybe to a T, maybe overhead, maybe like star-shaped Shavasana. Spread out. Take up as much room as we can here. Breathing in through your nose. Open your mouth. Let it go. For some reason, in this star-shaped Shavasana, arms up and legs wide, you can feel more grounding through the limbs. And just notice here for you, when we started in that normal shape, closed Shavasana, maybe it's post-yoga practice that you can notice these things more, or it's just the shape. See if you can feel your arms and legs pressing into the ground more than you could in the beginning. Letting the ground support you here. Breathing, coming to stillness. Big, full belly inhale. Open the mouth, let it go. Letting your breath return to normal. Release the control over the breath. Releasing any tension around your eyes. Releasing your tongue from the roof of the mouth. Breathing here, letting the ground support you. Knowing that this grounding feeling is not passive, it's active. Energy exchanging, feeling that energetic grounding. Knowing that being grounded in yourself means energetically being confident in yourself. And then also being calm and steady. Cultivating that confidence. And that calm. Maybe wiggling the fingers and the toes. You can always stay here if you have more time. If you're ready, wiggle the fingers and the toes. Maybe start to bend the knees. Hug the knees in. And then go ahead and fall over to your favorite side. Maybe using that arm as a pillow. Then gently pressing up with the opposite hand. Keeping your eyes closed as you come up to an easy sitting pose, whatever that means for you. Cross-legged, legs out front. Sitting up tall, keeping your eyes closed here. See if you can feel your shoulders over your hips, eyes closed.
Maybe bringing your hands together in your heart center. Maybe rubbing your hands together for a moment, feeling that warm friction energy. The confidence in me honors and respects the confidence in you. Or namaste. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. It is always so much fun to practice yoga on Tuesday mornings virtually. And a special happy birthday out there. You know who you are. And this week's donations, 10% goes to Buckeye Tree Lodge for using this awesome space. And then 50% goes to Girls on the Run, inspiring confidence in all of those girls who need access to confidence. So with that, thank you for tuning in. Let me know if you have any suggestions for next week, and I will post a link here in the chat to my website on the Connect page, so you can contact me that way if you'd like, and see any more updates in yoga stuff or other stuff. So thanks for tuning in and have a great day.